It's our favorite night of the year, 70s night. Johnny Bravo is here because the suit fits. And the only goat is named Raquel and is currently hiding in Greg Brady's attic room. As we check in on the standings in the National League Central, the Cubs a game back of the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers hosting Tom Glavine and the Mets tonight. Cubs a game and a half out and in fourth in the National League wildcard standings. Cubs and the Phillies tonight. It's game 2 of a 4-game series. Well, here we are. Bob Brenly and Len Casper. It is 70s night once again. Bob drove over in his Pinto, and we're ready to go. Cubs have struggled against the National League East. Other than against the Washington Nationals, it's been a tough go.
Well, especially the two teams at the top of the National League East, the Mets and the Phillies, the teams the Cubs are going to play during the course of this homestand, the cream of the crop in the National League East. The good news is the Cubs have done well against the other two divisions. Hopefully they'll be able to turn that around against the East the rest of this series.
Well, the Cubs couldn't get much going last night against left-hander Cole Hamels, but Ryan Theriot was able to leave the yard, and he's been getting on base a lot lately.
Yeah, last night Ryan Theriot was the offense for the Cubs. They really couldn't get anything going against Cole Hamels, and as is the case a lot of times, there's one guy in the lineup that seems to figure him out, and that was Ryan Theriot last night. He's done a great job this month.
All right, it's 70s night tonight here at the ballpark. Right-handers on the mound, Adam Eaton and Jason Marquis. You going to wear the wig all night?
I'll wear the wig, but I don't want to be a pirate.
Here we go, a blast from the past. And again, Greg Brady, or Barry Williams as he's known, will join us a little bit later. Cubs and the Phillies coming up.
Chicagoland Dodge dealers. The Illinois Lottery. No matter how you play the Illinois Lottery. Have a ball. By Pepsi. Your world, your Pepsi. And by Southwest Airlines. Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, Southwest can get you there with over 3,000 nonstop daily flights to over 60 destinations. Visit southwest.com today.
Well, everybody in the Wrigleyville neighborhood getting into the act. Staying alive, the Cubs. And the Phillies are hot. They've now won 9 of their last 10 as the Cubs try to even up this set. And tonight's Cubs broadcast from Wrigley Field, presented in high definition, sponsored by Comcast, and brought to you in 5.1 Dolby Surround Sound. Great to have you with us here on WCIU and Cubsnet. Was it Tony Clifton?
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, 70s night tonight. That was an Andy Kaufman reference for those fans out there. Boy, it's warm tonight. Woo!
Seems like every year on 70s night when we have to put on those polyester shirts and wigs, it always shoots up.
Cubs hoping their offense heats up after they were stymied all night by Cole Hamels last night. And the Cubs now taking the field behind sinker baller Jason Marquis. Now Charlie Manuel's Phillies lineup. Two guys were put on the DL. We'll tell you about them here in a second. Greg Dobbs leads it off at third base. Iguchi, Rollins, Howard, Aaron Rowan with a game-winning home run last night. Pat Burrell is in left. Chris Coast catching. Chris Roberson just called up. He's in right. And Adam Eaton does a good job at the plate.
And here's how the Cubs take the field defensively tonight behind starter Jason Marquis. Brought to you by Pepsi. Your world, your Pepsi. Soriano, Jones, and Floyd across the outfield. Aramis Ramirez playing third base once again for the Cubs. Good numbers against Adam Eaton in his career. Ryan Theriot at short. Mark DeRosa at second base. Derek Lee over at first. Jason Kendall behind the plate. And he'll be catching right-hander Jason Marquis. I should stop and correct myself right now. Aramis Ramirez does not have good numbers against Adam Eaton, but he's about to start piling up good numbers against Adam Eaton. That's what I meant to say.
Well put. No trades made by the Cubs today. The Phillies made a bunch of roster moves, including putting two guys who played right field last night on the disabled list. Shane Victorino going on the DL with a sprained right calf. I guess he suffered the original injury on Sunday, but then tweaked it last night. So that's a big loss for them. And then later in the ballgame, Michael Bourne, who had come in to replace him, tripped over the bullpen mound. He would actually stay in, but then a couple of innings later had to come out with a sprained left ankle. So they're both on the disabled list. Chris Roberson recalled from AAA, and he's up here. Jason Worth will be here tomorrow, and Kyle Loesch will start on Thursday. Ron Culpa will call the balls and strikes. And it's Greg Dobbs to lead it off. He's 5 for 6 this year against the Cubs. And we're underway. Outside corner strike. Back to back on fastballs from Marquis.
Jason's last start, he had a bad outing against his former team, the St. Louis Cardinals. He'd beaten him in back-to-back starts earlier this season and really handled them well, but gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings pitched down in St. Louis on that last road trip, looking to bounce back from that subpar outing. It seems like we've talked about it all season with Jason Marquis. There are some pitchers on the staff that there just aren't any secrets. If he keeps the ball down and keeps it out of the middle of the plate, he can be very effective. He gets a lot of ground balls. His infield defense will be busy behind him. When he gets that ball up over the heart of the plate, gets too much of the white part of the plate, that's when he tends to get in trouble.
Coming back on a 1-2 pitch, sliced foul by Dobbs. Dobbs playing third base tonight. Wes Helms got the start last night against the left-hander Ted Lilly, who saw his 7-game winning streak go by the board. Bottom line last night is Cole Hamels was on top of his game, and when that's the case, not too many offenses are going to have a chance.
He had that devastating straight changeup working all night long. Didn't really throw many of the big overhand curves that we're used to seeing from Cole Hamels, but he didn't need to.
Just missed. He wanted it. 2-2. Not
sure where it missed. Yeah, perhaps at the belt. Of course, the strike zone is actually a little above the belt, but I don't want to go there that early in a ball game.
Fly ball to left. Soriano went back. Now will come in and make the catch.
You know, actually, that could work in Jason Marquis' favor because he doesn't want to throw strikes up there around the belt. I just mentioned he's much more effective when he keeps the ball down at the bottom of the strike zone with that good downward movement. That's when he gets the ground balls.
Tadahito Iguchi hit a home run last night, his first as a member of the Phillies. The two guys who went deep for the Phillies, former members of the White Sox. Rowan and Iguchi.
Yeah, Rowan just got a fastball up and out over the plate from Ted Lilly and crushed it to straightaway center field. Iguchi, however, really waited back well on a breaking pitch.
By the way, the wind officially is blowing in, which is amazing. It's not doing much right now. It was blowing a little bit harder earlier, but out of the east at 4. On a night like this, 86 degrees at game time. That's really amazing. And it is a little cooler in the ballpark than it was in the parking lot when I pulled in mid-afternoon. It was a scorcher today. Off the plate inside, 3-1 the count. There's Rowan who hit a 3-run shot in the 3rd inning last night. Floyd will come over, but will not have a play.
Now, you mentioned not a lot of wind blowing as we start the ball game here tonight. What little wind there is seems to be blowing in from right center field. But once again, if batting practice is any indication, the wind really shouldn't affect the play on the field very much tonight.
A windup and the 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Marquis has been around the plate here the first 2 batters he's faced, but this is on a close pitch to allow Iguchi to reach. Lou Piniella is fine with the Cubs, at least for the moment, not making any deals. Cubs with a pretty young bench, and Lou says it gives him an opportunity to rest some of his starters. The double switch. The bench is versatile. It's athletic. And it's still possible the Cubs could make a deal into August. But the non-waiver deadline has already passed.
And as we know, Kerry Wood pitching tonight in Tennessee. And if he comes back and is able to eat up some innings in middle relief, perhaps eventually work himself into a late inning relief pitcher, that would certainly be the effect of making a trade for a power arm in the bullpen.
Fouled at the plate by Jimmy Rollins. He's just 3 for 28 against Marquis. Now, Lou was asked about Kerry Wood's role when he does return, and it'll be as early as Thursday. And he's going to be in middle relief as the Cubs will build up his stamina, get him acclimated. The back end has worked well, according to Lou, and he said, look, roles can change depending on how everybody pitches. I mean, that's good news that you don't have to throw him right in the fire. The Cubs are not in desperate need of an 8th inning guy or even a 7th inning guy with Marmol and Howry and then the closer Ryan Dempster.
And you can only imagine the emotions that Kerry Wood will have if and when he does return to the mound here at Wrigley Field. And it would be nice to ease him into as low a pressure situation as possible.
DeRosa will charge, and a little flip to Lee gets Rollins. With Iguchi moving into scoring position with 2 gone.
Well, as usual, Mark DeRosa makes them all look easy, but this is not a real easy play. He's got to move in and to his left somewhat. Nice easy hop right at the end to make it an easy play, but DeRosa covering a lot of ground from his position there. He was cheating up the middle a little bit, hoping for a double play ball.
Here's Ryan Howard, the first baseman, the reigning National League most valuable player. Speaking of scorching, his last 21 games on the road, a .388 average, 7 doubles, 10 home runs, 13.
Howard doubled and scored ahead of the Aaron Rowan home run last night, but Other than that, he struck out 3 times and hit a harmless ground ball to shortstop, actually up the middle of the field where Ryan Theriot is playing right now with his exaggerated shift.
He's tied for the league lead in RBIs, second in home runs, second in slugging. Also second in the National League in pitches per plate appearance, and that's something this Phillies offense is very good at from top to bottom. They're very patient. They'll wait you out. And they made Ted Lilly work last night. He walked 3 in 5 innings. Good pitch as Howard couldn't get it. 1-2.
Good hard slider down and in underneath the bat of Ryan Howard. We talked about him last night. A good low and in hitter. If you can throw that slider, make it look like it's going to be a strike down and in, and then have it break toward that back foot, that's the desired result.
The kick and the 1-2 moved his hands. Nothing wrong with that.
That's been the book on Ryan Howard throughout the early part of his career. You have to jam him in on the hands with that fastball. If you allow him to extend those arms, he has tremendous power to all fields. Hard stuff in, soft stuff away, out of the strike zone down.
Sets up a 2-2 pitch, and now he's running full. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That was set up for the changeup low and away. You saw Jason Kendall move way out on the outside corner. Marquis missed right back over the heart of the plate, but fortunately down enough that Howard didn't offer at it.
Fans getting into it here in the opening inning. Kendall moving toward the inside part of the plate. And strike 3 on the swing. Marquis gets out of it. A 1-out walk, no damage done. Cubs coming up.
Outside now, the summer sun's calling my name.
See your world, your Pepsi. Soriano, Theriot, Lee at the top. Ramos Ramirez having a big month. Cliff Floyd, Mark DeRosa, Jock Jones in center. It's Jason Kendall catching for Jason Marquis. Set the Phillies defensively here in a moment. Right-hander Adam Eaton, who has the highest earned run average in the National League at 583 deals, and Soriano fouls it off. .29 years old, 6'2", 200 pounds. And like Jason Marquis, Adam Eaton can really help his own cause at the plate. Both guys have been used as a pinch hitter in their careers.
At one time, Eaton was very much a power pitcher, had a good four-seam fastball. He used to work across the top of the zone, complemented that with a big over-the-top curveball. He spent a lot of time on the disabled list over the last couple of years. You see his numbers on the season. He surrendered 19 home runs. He's hit 7 batters and thrown 6 wild pitches.
Outside. Well, how can you be 9-6 and have the worst record in the league? Well, he's getting a lot of run support. Over 6. Well, he has been in the game. Would you rather have a guy who's 4-9 with a 320, or a guy who's 9-6 with a 583?
It depends on whether I'm his manager or his agent.
That's right. Yep. Rollins will backhand the throw. Save. Soriano just beat it. Infield hit.
Good hustle from Alfonso Soriano to start the ball game. His 9th infield hit of the year. You can see that pitch was off the outside corner away. He knows once Rollins goes to that hole, it's going to be a long throw across the diamond, and Soriano sniffing that infield hit just does beat it out.
So it's Ryan Theriot, runner on, nobody out. Well, I could give you one example. Rich Hill is just 500, 6-6, but he has a 3.59. Good bunt. A sliding play by Eaton. Bad throw into right. Soriano to third. Theriot to second. Ball got away, and Quaddy's going to hold Alfonso at third. Chris Roberson had a little trouble with it in the bullpen. Sacrifice for Theriot, an error on Eaton.
Well, you could just feel that coming from Adam Eaton. He made a real nice play defensively. You'll get a look at it from our Southwest RoboCam. Nice play to get to the ball, but he ended up in a terrible throwing position. Shoulders wide open. Pulled that throw back toward the infield away from Ryan Howard. Cubs have it cooking early. And watch the position Adam Eaton is in as he tries to make this throw. Ideally, you point that left shoulder right at your target to try to make a good throw. He is wide open. Very little chance of making a good throw right there.
Derek Lee hits a bouncer to short. Soriano's going to score. Rollins thought about Theriot at third, but then took the shore out. It'll be an RBI ground out for Lee, and Theriot now 90 feet away with only 1 out. It's 1-0.
A little bit of a risky go there by Theriot. It worked out all right. He made it to third base. Even though that ball is hit right at him, he had to know where Jimmy Rollins was playing and that Rollins was going to have to move a step or two to his left to make that play. That's the only thing that allowed Ryan Theriot to make it to third base.
The Cubs have been aggressive here in the first inning. Infield hit, sac bunt, error on that play. RBI ground out, during which Theriot moved to third. Just off the plate. Well, good to get a run here right off the bat after struggling last night. Cubs with their first lead in the series. One and two. Cubs are tied in the loss column in the Central with Milwaukee but a game out, 2 fewer wins than the Brewers. Just a game and a half out in the wild card, but 3 teams ahead of them. And you know, the Phillies tonight are rooting for the Brewers, and the Cubs are rooting for the Mets. Crank deep left. Burrell won't get there. Going to be off the wall. Theriot trots home. Ramirez to second base with a double, and it's 2-0.
absolute rocket to straightaway left field off the bat of Aramis Ramirez. That's a fastball right down the heart of the plate, tailing into the barrel of the bat. Trying to root that ball on up into the basket. He just hit that ball too low and too hard for it to get out of here. Burrell got a little too close to the bricks out there, and when that ball ricocheted off the wall, it got past him back toward the infield, giving Ramirez an easy route into second base.
22nd July RBI for Aramis Ramirez. Inside on Cliff Floyd. And his 28th in 30 games since coming back from the DL on June 22nd. Rosa on deck. We'll keep an eye on Mark's former teammate Tom Glavine, who seeks win number 300 tonight in Milwaukee. He's facing Jeff Suppan. No score there in the second. A-Rod with 499 home runs. Barry Bonds with 754. So it could be a huge milestone night. Bunch of trades made earlier today around baseball. We'll sprinkle them in throughout the broadcast. Line to right. Roberson back on it. He makes a catch just onto the track, and Ramirez has to go back to second.
Those are just some of the moves that were made today. Atlanta, one of the busiest teams at the trade deadline, picked up Octavio Dotel from Kansas City for Kyle Davies, a starting pitcher. Gagne to Boston.
It's not Norm cash, it's cold hard cash in return.
The best kind. You know, the most puzzling trade on that board for me is Matt Morris going from the Giants to the Pirates. That's one that had a lot of people down around the batting cage scratching their head today. You know, Matt Morris seems to be one of those veteran kind of pitchers that have been through the wars before, postseason hardened. You figured he would go to somebody who was looking to contend down the stretch.
Now Morris is signed through next year, so he was not just a rental for a Pirates team that has the worst record in the National League. He signed a 3-year contract with the Giants prior to last year. Rob Makoviak getting traded away from the team he grew up rooting for. The South Side are going to the San Diego Padres. Padres also getting Morgan Ensberg, who was recently cut by the Astros. Low and away. 3 balls, no strikes on DeRosa. Jock Jones would bat next. Two hits, an error, and 2 runs in the inning, and DeRosa's now on. That'll bring out the pitching coach, Rich Doobie, whose son was traded to the White Sox in the Tadahito Iguchi deal. Michael Doobie, a right-hander. So I guess the Phillies had to tell Rich Doobie, hey, we acquired a second baseman. Oh, great. Who'd we give up? Your son.
That's a tough break. Tough son for that first baseman and first base umpire for at least another half inning here.
Here's Jock Jones. Jock hitless over his last 3 games, so trying to snap an 0 for 10. Made several terrific running catches out in center field on the last trip. Ramirez at second. DeRosa the runner at first. The pitch. Good eye, 2-0.
This is where you really have to keyhole Adam Eaton, and by that I mean really narrow your strike zone. Look for one pitch in one spot, and if it's not there, just take it. Even if it's a called strike, you're still ahead in the count.
Ground ball to Ryan Howard. Eaton over to cover first. It'll go 3-1, and that'll end the inning. But the Cubs do get two, and Jason Marquis back to work with a 2-0 advantage. Beautiful Wrigley Field, 2-0 Cubs. One of the runs was unearned, and it was Adam Eaton. Each pitcher threw 23 pitches in the first inning. But there were more stressful pitches for Eaton than for Marquis. Aaron Rowan having a terrific campaign. 15 home runs. Look at the on-base percentage. Just a little bit below 400. And you know what? There was a lot of talk about the All-Star game and why didn't Tony La Russa pinch hit Albert Pujols? And I was certainly in that camp wondering. But, you know, Aaron Rowan, he's having a good year. He let Rowan hit instead of bringing in Pujols. Terrio over to Lee. Rowan would fly out to end the game, but it's not a bad choice.
There aren't many bad choices in an all-star game. I mean, I think the thing that surprised me the most was the fact that Albert Pujols was one of Tony's guys down there in St. Louis, and you would think he would try to get him in that situation. But, yeah, we don't know the whole story. We don't know what was said between Albert and Tony on the bench. You know, it counts.
It does count.
And if Tony had pinch hit Albert Pujols there and the National League had tied up the ball game and gone extra innings and run out of players, then people would be all over it. Believe me, I know.
So the American League has a home field advantage in the World Series again. Popped up by Pat Burrell. Strange to see him swing early in the count. He was very patient last night. Singleton walked in his first 2 at-bats. He's walked 7 times against Jason Marquis in his career, 8 for 25. Inside corner strike.
Not really surprised that Burrell has good career numbers against Jason Marquis. He's a good low ball hitter, and the sinker ball pitchers, when they bump up against good low ball hitters, occasionally are going to give it up. I mean, a good low ball hitter likes that sinker down there around the knees, maybe even a little lower.
That's going to drop down for a hit for Pat Burrell as Floyd will get it back in. Well, Bob, today would have been the 60th birthday of longtime Phillies player, manager, coach, front office advisor, and our good friend John Vukovich, who passed away earlier this year after his second battle with brain cancer. The Phillies wearing the Vuk patch on their uniforms this year. He was a big league infielder, later a Cubs coach and manager as well. Managed the Cubs for 1 day and 2 games, a doubleheader in 1986.
And Len, I know you knew Vuk, and well, one of the great joys of the game was getting to the ballpark early. And teams take a lot of extra batting practice very early in the afternoon, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and just being out there on the field and talking to John Vukovich after the teams were done with their early hitting, the grounds crew getting the field ready for regular BP. Just a wealth of knowledge about the game. Sorely missed.
Yeah, we miss him dearly. One of the great human beings, John Vukovich. 1 ball, 1 strike on Chris Coast.
I'll tell you a funny story about John Vukovich, and you probably know this as well. He had one of the most unusual throwing motions in batting practice, to the point where visiting players at times would kind of make fun of it. I mean, he got a little bit of a running start to get as much momentum toward home plate as he could. He extended his arm out the back and kind of rotated it around at a funny angle. And
Diving attempt by DeRosa. It's a base hit for Chris Coast.
well, just to finish up quickly, guys would make fun of his throwing stroke, and I have to admit I made fun of it from time to time. And then I became a coach and had to throw batting practice every day, and I apologize to him. I know what you're going through. You have to get all those bone chips lined up, get everything in a position where it hurts as little as possible, and then let it go. And you've got about 4 seconds to rewind and do it again. I said, Vuk, I apologize for making fun of your throwing motion.
Not easy.
Every coach that throws a lot of BP, by the end of their coaching career, they have a funny throwing motion.
By the way, that hit for Coast makes him 4 for 4 against Jason Marquis. Chris Roberson, a switch hitter, playing right field. Victorino and Bourne both on the disabled list. So his numbers with AAA Ottawa. And 105 games. Wasn't hitting for much power. He was slugging just 356 at AAA.
I'll tell you, you talk about a position where the Phillies are stockpiled with speed. Had Shane Victorino go down. They plug in Michael Bourne, a guy who averaged over 40 stolen bases a season in the minor leagues. Bourne goes down. They plug in Roberson, a guy who had 157 stolen bases in 528 games in the minor leagues.
Another base hit. Pat Burrell's coming around, and Jock will toss it back into Terrio. And it's 2-1. 3 consecutive singles for the Phillies. So Roberson comes up and immediately contributes.
Well, the curse of the sinker ball pitcher is ground balls that find holes. Pat Burrell got jammed with a sinker up and in, floated that ball out into right field. The next 2 base hits were just firm ground balls up the middle of the field. And no hesitation from Pat Burrell. He motors around third base. Probably an indication the Phillies are going to try to run on all the Cubs outfielders, but specifically Jock Jones out there in center.
Now here's the dangerous Adam Eaton coming in at 244. The Phillies as a staff lead the majors with 38 hits from their pitchers. Bunted foul. The Cubs are second on that list with 37. Eaton has been used as a pinch hitter 11 times in his career. He's 4 for 11. Jason Marquis is 6 for 24 as a pinch hitter.
And because of those numbers you mentioned for Adam Eaton, no guarantee he's going to be bunting again here on the second pitch from Jason Marquis. Show sacrifice on the first pitch if you happen to bunt it foul. You can see the Cubs defensively are already drawn way in at the corners expecting bunt, but it looks like he's going to try it again. We talk all the time about a manager putting a player in a position where he has the best chance to succeed, and sometimes in these obvious sacrifice bunt situations you don't have a high chance of succeeding with those corner infielders charging if you're trying to put down a sac bunt. You have a better chance of moving those runners if you just swing away and put the ball in play.
Another one bunted foul. Charlie Manuel and Jimmy Williams, Alan Trammell on the other side with Lou Piniella. Got a bunch of managers and former managers on these two staffs. Williams and Trammell, the bench coaches, former big league skippers. And that'll be a strikeout, the bunt attempt, and that one was up and in on Eaton.
Like a breaking ball that just backed up and continued to chase Eaton out of the batter's box. That was just a self-defense bunt attempt there to keep from getting hit in the middle of the chest. Yeah. All right. Looking good.
It's Greg Dobbs. First and second, a run in, 2 down in the inning. So you have Lou Piniella, Charlie Manuel, current managers. Former managers Alan Trammell, Larry Rothschild, Jimmy Williams, Davey Lopes, former Brewers skipper, and Bob Brenly in the booth. You have managers all over the place. You need one, we've got him. Former Cub, Davey Lopes.
And today's trivia question, of that group Len just mentioned, which one is the least stressed?
Ding, 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 ding. I know the answer. He's sitting next to me.
Always something to worry about down there on the field.
Fly ball sending Soriano over toward left center. Back a little bit. He has it. Dobbs is out. The Phillies get one on 3 hits. It's now 2-1 Cubs. Bat Kids brought to you by Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. Elizabeth Oliveira, 13 years old, from Algonquin, Illinois. 12-year-old Kevin Rigdon from Carroll Stream having a great time at Wrigley Field, thanks to our friends at Walgreens. For information and official rules of the Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kids Sweepstakes, go to WGNradio.com. No pitch, time was called. Kendall, Marquis, and Soriano. 2 strikes on Jason Kendall.
Time you saw the Phillies catcher Chris Coast before he hung down that sign for the 0-2 pitch. He pointed at his head. Use your head. Want to throw a breaking ball off the plate away. Just reminded Adam Eaton, don't leave it over the heart of the plate. Get it out there, and then he comes right back and strikes out Jason Kendall.
And that's his first punch out of the night. Nothing on Marquis as he protects that pitching elbow. I know you're not into the body armor, but are you okay with a pitcher in this spot, a left-handed batter and a right-handed thrower?
Yeah, absolutely, because I don't think most pitchers who wear that protection on their throwing arm use it as an offensive weapon. We see a lot of players hanging over the plate, diving in toward home plate, using that big body armor to protect themselves should the pitcher happen to come inside.
Gucci with a little slip with a lot of time. Seemed to lose his footing momentarily.
It's customary for a leadoff hitter to really take his time getting in that batter's box when a pitcher grounds out to make an out, especially the second out of the inning. You want to give Jason Marquis as much time as possible to get back in that dugout, but Alfonso Soriano cannot wait to get in that batter's box. Jason Marquis is going to have to rest as quickly as he can because Alfonso wants to get up there and swing that bat. You know, we've all seen it before. They get a little extra pine tar and you fix the helmet a couple extra times and then, oh wait, my shoe's untied. And by the time they finally get in the batter's box, the pitcher's sitting in the dugout with a cool drink and a towel over his head. You have to hustle back to the dugout when Soriano's your leadoff hitter.
1-1 from Eaton. Now 2-1. Two best teams in the National League record-wise since June 3rd. Doing battle. Second game of 4. Cubs 33-18. Leading the majors since June 3rd. The Phillies second in the National League, 29-21. The Phillies have the most wins in the National League since April 21st. They have 52 near the Tarpon foul. But it wasn't wins that the Phillies made headlines for recently, as a franchise suffering their 10,000th defeat. First pro sports franchise to suffer 10,000 losses. A 2-2 to Soriano, a swing and a miss, and the Cubs go down quietly in the second inning. They lead the Phillies 2-1. First pitch strike on Tadahito Iguchi. Third inning, Cubs 2, Phillies 1. Always key to get the first hitter, but particularly in this alignment with Rollins and Howard next. Iguchi is with the Phillies because Chase Utley suffered a broken hand when he was hit by a pitch on Thursday. Utley not considered out for the rest of the year, but for 3 or 4 weeks. That was a big loss. But having said that, the Phillies have won 4 straight since he went down.
Well, it could get a little dicey for Charlie Manuel when Chase Utley does come back, because certainly he's going to go right back into the starting lineup. One of the best players in the National League, and I don't know exactly where that leaves Tadahito Iguchi, but that's not my problem.
Way outside. I guess it's always a good problem to have.
Yeah, you'd rather have too many good players than not enough.
Check swing, no swing. Paul Emmel down at first base.
Good hard slider down low and away from Iguchi. Kind of steps in that bucket a little bit, becomes susceptible to those pitches low and away. Able to check on that one.
Leadoff walk, first walk, second walk rather, and both to Iguchi.
Well, Len, I wish I could be more specific. The opposing team in the situation, but one of the best defensive plays I've ever seen a second baseman make. Tadahito Iguchi parallel to the ground as he threw. Had absolutely nothing to brace himself for his fall, and was able to make an accurate, strong throw onto first to get the out.
Yep, I remember that play.
Came charging in on a slow roller and fielded and threw all in one motion, and some tremendous pictures of that play where he is just parallel to the ground, makes an unbelievable off balance throw and gets the out. I'm sure White Sox fans remember that play.
Kendall scooting out toward the outside corner, and Marquis hits the target. 2 strikes on Rollins. I mentioned the 10,000 losses. Number 10,000 was suffered earlier this month by the Phillies. They have, as a franchise, lost 100 games 14 times. Only 1 World Series championship. That was 1980. So the Phillies with under 8,900 wins and over 10,000 losses. I asked our good friend Ed Hardick to do a little research. The Cubs are second on the all-time wins list. The Giants, the first team to go over 10,000 wins, and right now at 10,158. The Cubs are 45 wins away from 10,000. Runner goes, called strike 3, and a good play by Terrio to keep that ball out of center field.
It starts with a good pitch from Jason Marquis, that off the body sinker. It looked like Jason Kendall, had he jumped up there a little bit further, might have been able to make contact with Jimmy Rollins. You see him falling out there across the plate. Kendall's able to get the throw off. It tails badly, and Terrio has to come across and take it on a short hop. But it looked like if Kendall had really forced the issue and jumped forward, he might have been able to make contact with Jimmy Rollins. And of course, that would be obstruction on the part of the batter, and the runner at second base would have been called out.
So Iguchi with a stolen base. He's at second with 1 out. Here's a pitch to Ryan Howard. Swung on and missed. Well, Harry Callis, the Chicago native, has called a lot of Phillies losses and a lot of big wins. And behind the mic for the 1980 championship team, 36 years, beginning in 1971 with the Phillies. And he's working with the Sarge, Gary Matthews, in the Phillies broadcast booth. Always good to see the Sarge, especially back here at Wrigley Field. See, we can't see them. Normally we can see them from our booth, but they have a huge Phillies banner blocking our view.
They'd like to have their own space over there. Very well delineated, see? Now, normally we make faces at those guys and try to get them to crack up on the air during the game, but we can't even see them.
We like to cheat by looking on their scorecard. Yes, we have set aside our 70s outfits just for the moment.
It was a fast decade.
Those puffy shirts really breathe well, don't they? 2-2 to Howard. Hit hard, but right into the shift. Terrio throws out Howard. 2 outs. Runner at third.
Two outs. Two down.
That shirt makes my hair look even redder than it is. Or would that be more red?
I don't know. Good one. More red or redder.
Here's Rowan. One other note on the franchise wins and losses. The Cubs won their first game back in 1876. They have never been below 500 all time. That is, if you add up the all-time Cubs record from day one, this franchise has never been under 500. So don't let anybody tell you they're the lovable losers. That's a great note.
That is a great note. I didn't realize that.
Cubs with 9,955 wins, 9,431 losses. So well above 500. The problem's been the lack of World Series appearances. They're trying to get back there this year. High drive to center. Jock Jones is underneath, and Rowan is out. So are the Phillies. Leadoff walk, no runs as Iguchi is left at third base. 70s night from the ballpark, 2-1. You tell me. Okay. What a beautiful night. And the Cubs leading the Phillies 2-1. 2 runs in the first. One was unearned. Ryan Terrio reached on a throwing error by Eaton. Center Rowand is back, and he's there. Cubs battle the Mets this Sunday, August 5th at 7:05. The first 5,000 girls 14 and younger will receive limited edition American Girl doll-sized Chicago Cubs apparel, compliments of Bank of America. Derek picked up his 56th RBI on a ground out, plating the first run. Soriano in the first. Cubs finishing up July 16-9 so far this month, and against right-handed starters 15-4. Popped him up out into shallow right for Roberson. We're just 1-5 in July against lefties. They'll open August tomorrow night by facing a former Cub, Jamie Moyer.
And hopefully the Cubs will have a better approach offensively against Jamie Moyer than they did against Cole Hamels. Moyer, a guy that throughout his career has relied on a straight changeup and pinpoint control on that outside corner, showing a cutter inside from time to time and then going right back away. Hamels last night just displaying one of the best changeups we've seen this year.
Ramirez held up to make it 2-1. We get an update on Kerry Wood's outing at AA. We'll let you know. This is Rowand again, and 3 fly ball outs. As Eaton seems to be settling in, 7 straight Cubs sent down, 2-1 after 3.
I can still remember how that music used to make me.
Pat Burrell fouled away. 4th inning, Cubs 2, Phillies 1. Marquis has faced the Phillies quite a bit in his career, 3-3. 16 appearances, 9 starts. He has 1 career save, and it came against the Phillies. north side. And a wind not much of a factor on a hot night here on the north side. And it's 2-2. Happy birthday to Corey Miller, one of the Cubs bullpen catchers. Ted Lilly told me today it's his golden birthday. I didn't know what that meant. But he turns 31 on the 31st. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I have not.
Ramirez backs up. You learn something new every day. Talked to a few people. They knew what golden birthday meant. Other people had no clue what we were talking about.
Well, the golden birthdays would stop after your 31st birthday, I would assume then, right? There's no 53rd day of February.
You're good.
Okay.
We were also trying to figure out leap year. If you were a leap year baby, you would never have a golden birthday because it would be February 29th. That wouldn't happen, right? It's confusing, but because leap year comes around every 4 years, so the 29th would not fit. 28,
yeah, right.
The 28th year would be your 7th leap year.
Wow, what a shot! Beautiful.
This will be the first time Jason Marquis has retired Chris Coast. He was 4 for 4, including 1 for 1 tonight. Well, Cub fans, make sure you check in on our baseball blog on WGNTV.com. On the blog tonight, I have a post about the trading deadline. Game notes from our friends at Stats Inc. Also, auditions for the 7th inning stretch contest. And a link to our new podcast. Ramirez can't get it, and it goes through the legs of Terrio. And I believe Roberson will be credited with his second hit. I don't know if Terrio would have had a play. He's 2 for 2.
I'm not sure, and we'll have the benefit of checking a replay, but it almost looked like Aramis Ramirez misdirected that ball. Terrio was coming over to back up the play, and when Ramirez dives for the ball, it looked like it changed directions ever so slightly. And Terrio couldn't get over there and get the glove down in time. I don't think they would have had a chance to get the speedy Roberson at first base anyway.
Eaton not in a bunting situation this time. He was last time, and he bunted foul on a pitch that was up and in. Just trying to get out of the way. Bob, I ran into somebody today who watched our podcast that we taped on Sunday in Cincinnati, and he said it was great. It was very heartening. I know a lot of people watch, but we don't get as much feedback as we would like sometimes. Jones chasing and makes the catch on the move right in front of 368 to rob Adam Eaton. Probably would have scored a run with Roberson having that terrific speed with 2 outs. Still 2-1.
Broadcast from Wrigley Field is brought to you by Bud.tv, where entertainment is always on and only on www.bud.tv.
Got all the dots in the right place. Cliff Floyd batting. He lined to right in the first inning. The Cubs scored 2 runs off Adam Eaton. Cubs are 15-4. Last 19 times Cliff Floyd has been in the starting lineup. Check swing strike. Well, that was a big catch by Jock Jones. Chris Robertson was running with a pitch and would have easily scored if that ball had gotten down in left center, and that would have tied the contest. We told you about Adam Eaton. He can hit. Busted bat, pop up in a bullpen, and it's Iguchi to make the catch.
Well, and as you mentioned, Robertson was on the move and has blazing speed on the bases. You see his start over there, crossover, straight steal of second base, never looked back, and Adam Eaton made a bid for extra bases, but Jock Jones able to run it down, corral that ball. You can see Robertson was well around second base before Jock Jones made the catch.
I think it hurts a pitcher a little bit more to get robbed on a play like that, because they don't get as many chances as the everyday guys.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they starting pitcher get 3-4 at bats in a ball game. If they're lucky, they want to cash in.
They have to wait 5 days.
Yeah, Eaton felt he had a good pitch to hit right there, put a good swing on it. It sounded like it hit out toward the end of the bat just a little bit.
Dobbs on a tricky hop. Well, they tried to go around the horn. The ball ended up in left field. A ball girl, or a bat girl, I should say, tonight.
She's back in the bat cave. Trying to wipe that pine tar off her hands. You see her trying to get that sticky stuff off of there.
It's always funny. Occasionally you'll see somebody that you know from the other team, or even on the Cubs, you'll shake the guy's hand and they'll go, "Oh, thanks." Nice to see you.
Yeah, some guys will be, courteous enough and take the time to take off their batting glove before they shake hands. I'd really get the pine tar on my hands. You don't have to go to all that trouble.
These pins up here and the pencils can get pretty slick.
You're the one working here. I'm the one that's interrupting you while you're going about your work. So don't take off your batting gloves to shake hands.
2-2 on Jones. He's trying to end a string of 9 consecutive Cubs hitters retired by Eaton. It's not going to happen here as Rollins shaded up the middle. Perfect spot, and he throws out Jones. Through 4. Cubs trying to even up this set. They lead 2-1. Cubs 2, Phillies 1. Top of the order now in the 5th. Foul back. Greg Dobbs has a degree in sociology from the University of Oklahoma. Signed with the Mariners as an undrafted free agent in 2001. He lines it into the gap. Jones will get over there to get it. Big turn at first base, and the leadoff hitter will settle with a single. Time to have a ball with our friends at the Illinois Lottery.
The twilight's last
Before the game, Barry Williams with our national anthem.
broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
Bottom right, that's
fight.
Peter Brady,
O'er
Christopher
the
Knight in attendance.
ramparts we watched.
A little brotherly support there.
Gucci pulls the bat back.
A lot of speed on this Phillies ball club. Dobbs with only one stolen base attempt this season. And because Iguchi's natural swing is to open up and kind of inside out the ball to the opposite field, especially fastballs to the opposite field, this would appear to be a good hit and run situation should Charlie Manuel decide to push that button. I mean, sometimes the best time to hit and run is when you don't have speed on the bases. Otherwise, you're going to end up hitting into a lot of double plays. One way to combat that is to get the runner in motion, try to open a hole in the infield.
I have a weird question for you. This only happened to you once in your career because you played with two teams. But what's it like for a player like Iguchi to get traded? He's known one uniform in the big leagues, the White Sox, and now all of a sudden he's in all red. Does it take you a day or two and you go, whoa, you put the cap on? Some guys, you just think of them as with a certain team. Now Iguchi only there over a couple of years. Jock Jones lost the ball. Wow. He had no idea where it went. It hit the track and bounced out. I thought that was going to be routine, and he had no idea where it was. So it'll be a double for Iguchi. Dobbs at third base, and the Phillies had two on, both in scoring position. Well, we're nearing dusk.
Yeah, it's that time of night. The sky is just about the same color as a rubbed up game ball. That ball skied high in the air to center field. And I don't think anybody could have helped anyway, but it looked like Jock Jones was camped under it, although his palm is pointing up, a surefire indicator that he did not see it. But because that ball is hit into deep straightaway center, no chance for either corner outfielder to get over there and give him any help whatsoever.
Well, all kinds of trouble now for Marquis. Rollins fouls back, second and third, no outs. Well, it's a helpless feeling when you have no idea where the ball is.
Boy, and Jock Jones playing all those years up in Minnesota with that funky roof they have up there at the Dome. He's probably glad to get out of there and get to a ballpark where he didn't have to worry about that anymore, and then lost that one in the dusk.
Runner will score. The throw goes to first. Very close. They get him. So Dobbs is in. Rollins tying the game on an RBI 6-3 ground out. Iguchi now at third.
That was almost a replay of the Cubs' first run in this ball game when Derek Lee grounded out to shortstop and Alfonso Soriano scored. You may remember Ryan Theriot ran right in the face of Jimmy Rollins. Theriot has thoughts about going to third, and then eventually just takes the out across the diamond.
So they're going to intentionally walk Howard and trying to get Aaron Rowan to hit into a double play.
Well, Rowan does lead the Phillies and grounding into double plays this season. He has 12 of them. And you'd like to think Jason Marquis could make that good pitch down low in the zone, get the ground ball.
This will be the 24th intentional walk. Ryan Howard's second in the National League in that category. So he's walking towards first base, and they're at the corners. Cub fans still looking to get tickets to the hottest Cubs games this year? Visit Cubs.com and click on Replay, the official secondary market site for the Chicago Cubs. See a Cubs game from the best seats at Wrigley Field. Check out Replay at www.cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Rowan steps in. Cubs want two. And it's Ramirez to DeRosa. To Lee, they get it. Marquis dials up the double play ball. The Phillies get one to tie it. It's 2-2. Jason Kendall just broke his bat on a foul pop behind the Phillies dugout.
A little bit of an argument from first base coach Davey Lopes on that inning-ending double play. He tried to convince Paul Emmel, the first base umpire, that Derek Lee came off the bag early. But Derek is pretty good about it. Occasionally he'll try to cheat off just a little bit if he knows they're not going to get the out at first. But this is a very routine play. D. Lee clearly has the ball in the glove, foot on the bag. Rolling out by a good step and a half over there at first base.
And Rowan retires Kendall. All right, when that ball was lost, I was asking you a question. Was it weird the first day as a Blue Jay and go, wow?
I walked around for the first week of spring training in Dunedin, Florida, looking at my shoes. I had never worn blue shoes before. I just couldn't get over that. It definitely takes a while. You know, all your equipment, your under sleeves and your shoes, your hats, everything is different than what you're used to. Of course, it's a very minor adjustment. Doesn't take too long to get over it. But when you've spent your entire career with one ball club, you get used to certain things. And when that changes, it takes a little while, just fashion-wise, to get used to the new unit.
Yeah, Gucci went from black shoes to red. And the catchers, I mean, look at Chris Coast. And if you've never worn red as a catcher, and it's the first time you go from blue or black or green to red, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, Jason Kendall coming from Oakland where they wore white shoes.
Just one of those quirky things.
As long as it's a big league uniform, I'll wear Paisley shoes. I don't care.
Base hit, Jason Markey. Yeah, we'll have to ask Jason Kendall now. Did he get a new mask the day he came over to the Cubs? Did they spray paint it? Or?
I think he got a new one. We'll double check with him, but I'm pretty sure I remember when Jason Kendall got to town, he had a whole set of new catcher's gear awaiting in his locker when he got here. Jason Markey fighting off a fastball into left center field for a base hit. Really the one big adjustment I remember seeing the clubhouse guys putting that visor. Jason Kendall wears the visor on the top part of his catcher's mask to shield his eyes from the glare of the sun as well as the lights for night games.
Knocked down by Eaton. He couldn't find the ball, and everybody's safe. He almost made an acrobatic play. Soriano will pick up his second infield hit of the night.
I've seen Adam Eaton make this play before. He is a very good athlete, good hand-eye coordination, gets that comebacker and tries to go behind his back. It hits him in the glove, bounces straight up in the air, and he can't find it quickly enough to make a play. Everybody's safe. See, he got his glove there. It just hit off the heel and bounced away from our Southwest RoboCam. A real good look at that attempted play by Adam Eaton.
You know who we can ask? Ron Santo. As a Cub for so long, and then to wear the White Sox uniform. That had to be very strange. Billy Williams, right? Finished his career at the Oakland A's. I'm sure the first time a Cub fan saw Billy Williams in an Oakland uniform, it didn't seem right.
Doesn't look right.
That happens a lot more now, though. He's changing teams. 3-0. Derek Lee on deck. Chance to retake the lead.
Ontario could be in a take-two situation right here. Definitely taking the 3-0 pitch. If it happens to be a strike, it wouldn't surprise me a bit to see him take the 3-1 pitch.
Bases loaded. Pitching coach is out again. Some great signs here at Wrigley Field lately. One thing I just noticed, it's a subtle thing, but I've seen a lot more emotion out of Aramis Ramirez this year. When he came out of the dugout, right as ball 4 was being delivered, he pumped his fist. This team in general, you feel a lot more energy and excitement with the team winning.
Well, and that is the bottom line, winning a ball game. But for an RBI guy like Aramis Ramirez, more guys on base from Mario. He loves it when the bases are drunk when he gets up to the plate.
And they're waiting. Alan Waveley. Derek Lee. Phillies back in double play depth. Bases loaded. The pitch to Lee. High in the air, not deep. Marquis is ready to tag. Roberson with a catch, and he's going to hold. And it's up to Ramirez.
Strong numbers for Aramis Ramirez in this particular situation. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, a .325 hitter on the season.
McKee at third, Soriano at second, Terrio at first. Here's a pitch. Strike one. Action in the Phillies pen. Jeff Geary, a right-hander. Busted bat grounder to Iguchi. The bat ended up near Greg Dobbs at third base, and Eaton escapes. They leave him loaded. It's still 2-2 after 5. Pepsi have a fun new contest. Only true baseball fans have the passion to customize a Pepsi can. Show us your team's colors. Design a Pepsi fan can that celebrates either the Cubs or the Sox. Decorate your fan can to honor your team. Send a photo, not the can, to WGN TV. Pepsi fan can. That's 2501 West Bradley Place, Chicago 60618. Pat Burrell felled by that foul ball.
Boy, he hadn't even finished his swing and he was screaming out in pain already. Like he was limping on his back leg. That ball right off the top of the right knee.
Trying to think of which Philly it was. I think it was Brett Myers quoted in the Philly paper today. He said, "Uncle on all the Phillies injuries. Suffered 2 more last night."
Yeah, that's a phenomenon that I've seen more in the last 2 or 3 years in baseball than I saw in my entire playing career. Guys fouling the ball off their back leg. I'm not sure if there's an easy explanation for it. Maybe just a coincidence, but we're seeing that more and more. That time Burrell fouled that ball right off of his right knee, the back knee. We talk about those injuries to the Phillies. They were really in somewhat of a jam last night. They were running out of outfielders, and normally Charlie Manuel likes to make defensive moves late in a game to get Pat Burrell out of there. when they have a lead. He wasn't able to do that last night.
Close pitch. Full count. Mets leading the Brewers 2-1, so Tom Glavine has a shot at his 300th win. If he doesn't get it tonight, his next start will be Sunday night here. That one cranked, and the Phillies have the lead 3-2. He's going to have to limp around the bases after fouling that ball off his right knee. But Pat Burrell has just given the Phillies their first lead tonight.
It doesn't hurt quite as bad when you hit the ball up in the seats. For Burrell, his 14th home run of the season. Boy, just gets great extension. I'll tell you, you put him in a predictable count where he can look for a pitch out over the plate and get those arms extended. He can hit the ball as far as anybody in baseball.
Well, that looked like a no-doubter, but Pat Burrell was really busting it. I mean, he wasn't running fast, but he was running hard. Big turnaround. Nice play by Derek Lee. Ryan Theriot with that long bounce throw. As he was able to gobble it up over at short. And even a better play at the other end.
Nice play by Ryan Theriot, choosing to get in front of the ball rather than play it on the backhand side. A lot of shortstops will play that ball on the backhand side to try to get themselves in a better throwing position, but Ryan Theriot knew who his runner was, the opposing catcher Chris Coast. He had a little bit more time, so he just rounded it off, threw on the move, and Derek Lee made a nice play on the other end. Ryan Theriot had a play similar to this earlier in the ball game. This time he's able to glove it, throw on the move. Comes up a little bit short to D. Lee, but he's able to pick it for the out over there at first base.
1-2 on Roberson. Solid start here in his 07 Major League debut. 57 games last year with the Phillies. Hit 195. With a triple, an RBI, and 3 steals. And he's 3 for 3 tonight. So he had 8 hits last year, 41 at bats. Has 3 hits tonight.
Well, and if he was on the move with 2 outs and the pitcher had him eating at the plate back in the 4th inning, there's a pretty good chance he's going to be on the move over there right now. Nice inside out swing. The sinker up and out over the plate. Just chops it out there into left field, and now the fun and games begin.
Tell you what, the Phillies, they keep replacing injured players with guys who have produced. Iguchi for Utley, Roberson for Victorino and Bourne. It's a sign of a hot team. Pitch count now over 100 for Marquis. Fourth start of the second half for Jason. A 7.56 earned run average over his first 3 second half starts. One and two.
We talk about the call-ups contributing to the Phillies. It's a little different story when you're in a pennant race and you call guys up from the minor leagues. They're not up here just to soak up the atmosphere and get some big league meal money. If you get called up to a team that's looking forward to the postseason, you're expected to produce, and the expectations are high. You really have to have a good gauge on your own players that you call up from the minor leagues to be sure that they won't be overwhelmed.
Roberson runs, swing and a miss, and the throw is late. Jason Kendall saying that Eaton got in his way. I think Kendall banged into Eaton, maybe on the follow through of his throw, as he chats with Ron Kulpa.
Get another look at it here. Hard sinker down and in. Eaton swings right over the top. The bat actually caught Jason down around the thigh. Didn't appear to make any contact as he was making the throw, but he did get hit with the bat on the backswing from our Southwest RoboCam. The two best catchers I ever saw during my playing career were Tony Pena and Benito Santiago. If that batter was anywhere near being out of that batter's box on a steal attempt, they were going to jump on his back. They made sure the umpire saw that there was contact.
Dobbs sends it deep. Jones back on this one. He makes a catch on the run. That ends the inning, but Burrell giving the Phillies the lead with a leadoff home run. It's now 3-2. Still chatting at home plate. Cubs 2. A home run ball has been big for the Phillies in this series. The latest by Pat Burrell. Cliff Floyd dancing to get out of the way of that Adam Eaton pitch. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Cubs haven't scored since getting 2 in the first. In fact, since then only 2 hits, 3 base runners. They threatened loading them up with 1 out in the 5th with Lee and Ramirez coming up, but Eaton got out of it. Cliff will be sitting dead red here. Didn't like it, took it for ball 3. DeRosa and then Jones, who made another terrific catch in center. That's a strike. His spin move by Cliff.
Yeah, that's a 3-0 strike right there. Sometimes umpires will expand the zone just a little bit on that 3-0 count.
That's the pitch that Marquis didn't get earlier.
If he throws the same pitch on 3-1, it'll be ball 4.
Howard can't get it, scoots under his glove. Time now for tonight's Honda Civic Games summary. Pat Burrell with a go-ahead home run. His 14th of the year. Jimmy Rollins with his 65th RBI. That tied it in the 5th inning. Had him eat a couple of walks, 2 Ks, RBIs for Leon Ramirez, both in the 1st inning. And Jason Marquis has given up 3 runs through 6. Tonight's Honda Civic game summary. Get performance and save gas. Test drive a new Civic at your Honda dealer today. The other big play, the ball lost in the dusk by Jock Jones on the Tadahito Iguchi deep fly to center. Banged off the warning track, bounced over the wall, and eventually the Phillies would get the tying run. No ball, 2-strike count on DeRosa.
This is a possible situation where you would see Angel Pagan run for Cliff Floyd, representing the tying run in this ball game. We know Lou likes to make that defensive change late with a lead. No sign of Pagan making an entrance into this ball game at this point. I mean, it is a little early to take Cliff out. He's probably going to get one more at bat in this ball game. Phillies only have 1 lefty in their bullpen, a lot of right-handers down there, so Lou wants to leave the left-handed bat in the lineup just a little bit longer.
Base hit into center. Floyd to second. And Rowan's going to throw there. 2 on, nobody out.
A ringing single into center field off the bat of Mark DeRosa. Looked like it might get away from Aaron Rowan. Cliff Floyd with a big turn at second base. Rowan really made up ground at the end of this play to get in front of it. Got in position, tried to throw behind Cliff at second base. Knowing that the Jason Marquis pitch count is getting elevated at this point in the ball game, it's a situation where you normally would not sacrifice bunt with your 7-hitter in the lineup, but the possibility of a pinch hitter in that 9 spot, you may see Jock Jones try to dump a bunt right here. He's put down 2 sacrifice bunts on the season. And the Phillies at least expecting the possibility of a bunt. Greg Dobbs down at third base went through a series of signs for his infielders to let them know what bunt defense play is on.
Swinging away, fair ball, left field corner. Floyd will come around and score. Mark DeRosa stopping at third. Little trouble by Burrell. Now DeRosa's going to try to score. Throw to the plate. Save! And the Cubs lead. DeRosa had stopped, but Burrell had some trouble, and they get the go-ahead run.
Jock Jones takes advantage of that drawn-in third baseman, slaps the ball right by him down the third base line. And you mentioned it, Pat Burrell got over into that corner, had trouble up against the bricks trying to dig the ball out. DeRosa had stopped completely at third base. Mike Quaddy saw Pat Burrell having problems, waved him on home. DeRosa's got to hustle in there, and only a good slide by Mark DeRosa. Watch how low he is to the ground. He gets under the tag, foot on the plate. Nice play.
A single and an RBI for Jones. The second run scoring on the error by Burrell. Kendall pulls the bat back. 1-1.
Well, Jimmy Rollins made a strong relay throw after he finally got the ball from Pat Burrell right down the third base line. I thought it might hit Mark DeRosa. Coast makes a nice play to come up with the short hop, but when he came up to field the short hop, DeRosa got underneath his glove and got his foot on the plate.
Bunted by Kendall. Nicely done. Eaton struggling with his footing again. It does get the out.
Perfectly executed sac bunt with a runner at second base. You want that third baseman or the pitcher coming to the third base side to field that ball. Adam Eaton with another nice athletic play off the mound. He slid just a little bit as he made that play, but the Cubs have a runner at third with one out. Jock Jones easily able to advance to third base. Perfectly placed bunt by Jason Kendall.
Rich Doobie out for, I believe, the third time tonight. And Mike Fontenot batting for Marquee. Action in the Cubs bullpen. Left-hander Will Ullman. Cubs leading 4-3.
Mike Fontenot 2 for 6 off the bench for Lou Piniella this year.
Jones and Mike Quaddy chatting. Drawn in infield against the pinch hitter, Fontenot. Marquee with a chance for a win now. Base hit. Jones is in. 5-3. Fontenot with an RBI single. Snaps an 0 for 9. Here comes Charlie Manuel, and that'll be it for Eaton.
Mike Fontenot coming off the bench, hacking, got a fastball up and out over the plate, hooked it back to the right side. Beautiful.
So Adam Eaton, who is 3-0 lifetime here at Wrigley Field, will walk off trailing by 2, and we'll be back. Cam with Barry Williams and Christopher Knight in the house tonight. Here's a track. Greg Peter and the rest of the Brady's 1 cent.
When it's time to change, you've got to rearrange. Who you are is what you're gonna be. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na. When it's time to change, you've got to rearrange.
Kingman for president. It's from the best of the Brady bunch. Time to change. That was the deal for the Phillies, changing pitchers. Eaton watching now from the dugout. Jeff Geary out of the bullpen. He just got called up officially yesterday from AAA Ottawa. Jones fouled off. So with Marquis out of the game, an opportunity for his 8th win. Tom Glavine with a gem in Milwaukee. He's given up 1 run on 1 hit through 6. 2-1 Mets in the 7th. Jeff Suppan has pitched well. Glavine with 90 pitches through 6. Kind of a typical Glavine night. 46 balls, 44 strikes, 5 walks, 1 run. I guess he's pitching around a few.
Yeah, he has a way of doing that, yeah. Much like with Greg Maddux, a lot of Tom Glavine's walks are strategic because he wants to go after the next hitter, perhaps set up a double play with a runner at third base and 1 out.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Quick scoring change. They have credited Jock Jones with a double instead of a single on his hit to left.
Geary going up the ladder here. Fastball above the letters inside off the plate. Mariano just unable to hold up.
So an RBI double for Jones.
A good redeemer at bat for Jock Jones. Very rarely in a game do you get an opportunity to make up for a fielding gaffe earlier in the game, and yeah, it's tough to blame Jock unless you've actually been out on the field at that time of night and had somebody hit you a fly ball as high as that Tadahito Iguchi fly ball. You have no idea the helplessness that you feel as a fielder.
Well, he's proven, especially the last 2 weeks, if he sees it, he's going to catch it.
Oh yeah.
Fontenot with a short lead at first. The pitch to Terrio. Shoots it the other way. But it holds up for Roberson. Fans having fun tonight on 70s night. And the Cubs lead going to the 7th, 5-3. Into the bullpen, the Cubs now with Will Oman on the mound, facing Tadahito Iguchi. 5-3 Cubs. Just scored 3 times to retake the advantage. And I want to make one note about the quality start. It was a quality start for Jason Marquis tonight. 6 innings, 3 runs, all earned. You sometimes hear and read that But it's the definition. Like tonight was the definition of a quality start for Marquis. That's a misnomer. It's the minimum qualification for a quality start. That's the worst you can do, throwing a quality start. And I know it gets criticized, but most quality starts are actually more innings and fewer runs. Rip foul.
And just as an example, the Philadelphia Phillies this year, when they score 3 runs or less, and they're sitting on 3 right now, they're 1-26. People who crunch numbers for a living decided that that's what the formula should be based on the numbers historically.
Called strike 3. I've got another number for you here. The Cubs are 8-1 when Jason Marquis gives them a quality start, and he's 7-0 with a 140 in those outings.
Gucci gets fooled on a tailing fastball on the inside part of the plate. He can't believe it. Saw him raise his hands and back out of the way. That ball tailed right back over the inside corner.
Good start to the inning. So Marquis 7-0 when he gives the Cubs a quality start. 0-6 when he does not. You don't win them all, but you give your team a great opportunity if you can get that quality start. Rollins hitting it foul down the left field line. It's 2-1 on Rollins. You have Ryan Howard on deck. You also have Carlos Marmol ready in the Cubs bullpen. Lou wants Ullman to get through this inning, get these next 2 hitters, and then he can either go with Marmol or Howery in the 8th.
This is a conventional wisdom in the National League. When you have an option, you want to turn Jimmy Rollins around to the right side. He's a great hitter from both sides of the plate for average. Has a little more power as a left-handed hitter.
Ground ball fair, knocked down in the backhand. Ramirez guns it over. What an arm. Showing off his cannon. A little extra mustard on that throw.
Ramos doesn't air it out on every play. He just gets it over there in enough time to get the runner. But this time with Rollins running, he knew he needed every bit of that strong right arm and makes a great throw to Derek Lee. But the only infielder I can remember that threw the ball as hard as he could every time was Sean Dunston. Even on the most routine of plays, he would wind up and throw his best fastball across the diamond.
A slider strike on Howard. Barry Williams and Christopher Knight coming up with our 7th inning stretch. It's known as Greg and Peter Brady. Another slider. Howard waved at it. Strike 2. Cardinals leading the Pirates and the final. So got to keep an eye on St. Louis. 5.5 back in the division. 4.5 behind the Cubs currently. Terrio almost got it. A base hit to center.
Cubs had the I formation going there. Look at them lined up. Will Ullman on the mound. Terrio behind second base. Jock Jones in center. And Ryan Howard tucks it in between the infielders and the outfielders.
So that's it for Will Ullman. We will keep it here. Carlos Marmol coming in. And his charge is to get Aaron Rowan. Good job by Will. He got Iguchi and then the switch hitting Rollins, so he gets a couple of guys batting right-handed. But then Ryan Howard with a solid single to center. And the bullpen set up how you would like it with Marmol. You have Bob Howery in the 8th if needed, and Ryan Dempster in the 9th.
Hey, Len, one of our favorite events of the entire year is coming up this weekend. Lollapalooza kicks off this Friday at Chicago's Grant Park and runs through Sunday. 130 bands on 8 stages over 3 days. Oh, how good can it get? Listen to a little Pearl Jam right here, one of the headliners, and it's an awesome lineup this year. Ben Harper and the Innocent Criminals, Amy Winehouse, Snow Patrol, The Roots, Kings of Leon, many, many more. For more information, you can go to lollapalooza.com or to frontgatetickets.com.
Well, it'll be great to have Eddie Vedder back in the booth Friday. He will sing the stretch. Huge Cub fan. Eddie Vedder around Ron Santo is like us around Eddie Vedder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I know what to
Loves
do.
Ron. And there's a very good chance Kerry Wood will have already been activated from the DL. He's also a good friend of Eddie Vedder. Woody might be back Thursday. Slider strike on Rowan. High in the air, Jock Jones locates it, comes in a couple of steps, and that's the inning. Stretch time.
Rutgers for taking me out to the ballgame are Barry Williams and Christopher Knight, Greg and Peter from the Brady Bunch.
All right, Cubs fans, let us hear ya. A 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back, and it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. And it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. It's a run.
There we go.
Last of the 7th, Derek Lee leading off, and Barry Williams is with us in the booth. 70s night, and great to have Christopher Knight with you tonight as
Very
well.
nice. Well, as you can see, we're very good friends and have remained so. Delighted he could join me tonight, and it was a good sport for coming in and singing the stretch with me. You know, he's not the most comfortable singer in the world.
Yeah, we actually for our Bud Light fan cam tonight, we had It's Time to Change when his voice was cracking a little bit.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. That actually was not very forced. He has a little trouble with keeping the old pitch thing going on there. But it's nice. It's nice to be out here for this day. A nice bottom of the 6th inning, by the way, and a beautiful night to be out here at the ballpark.
Well, it really is. 3-1 on Derek Lee. We saw you in Cincinnati over the weekend as well.
That's
and,
right.
You're a big sports fan,
Been
right?
moving around a little bit, yes.
Derek Lee walking to lead off the inning.
Anxious to see what's going to happen out in Los Angeles, where I live with the Dodgers. We have new owners out there, and our new Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
That's right, you got it right. You are so popular, and just below the booth here when you finish singing the 7th inning stretch. A lot of fans here.
I must tell you that being that hurts.
Off the leg of Geary, and Howard will step on first base.
Being a part of this, the ride with the Brady Bunch has been quite an honor and a lot of fun. A lot of fun to be a part of. And there have been a lot of it. We did the original show, and then we had reruns and more series. We had Very Brady Christmas, and the Brady Girls Get Married, and the Brady Brides, and movies and books and plays, and it just keeps going on and on.
They're going to check on Geary.
I'll bet.
Yeah, it looked like I caught him on the outside of the right leg near the knee, ricocheted right to Ryan Howard over there at first base. Now, I have to ask you, Barry, the guys in the truck are dying to know how's Marcia.
Well, I'm happy to say, after just completing the full season of Celebrity Fit Club, not only did she lose all of the 38 pounds that she had intended to lose, but she won the entire competition. And we're in touch on a weekly basis, and she's doing actually much better, stronger. She said a tough period here for a couple of years, but things are coming together, and she looks hot.
That's good to know.
Some things never change.
She has a 17-year-old daughter that looks exactly like she did when she was 17 too.
Okay.
Which is a real pain for her, for Maureen.
Cliff Floyd at the plate, runner at second with 1 out. We have a Brady in the truck. Mark Brady, our associate producer, the 7th Brady.
I'm sorry, Mark, because I know that has to be tough in high school and going to college being a Brady.
Well, let me tell you, Mark Brady had a lot more problems than that in high school.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just take your word for it.
Now, let me ask you this. Have you stayed in touch with Robbie Rist, who's this huge musician? He was cousin Oliver, and he's in Los Angeles. I saw this great article about him. He's done a lot.
He has. He's a good musician. He's in about 4 different bands out there, cover bands, and very much into it. He has 5 different colors of hair, including purple and yellow and, you know, that whole thing. He's a wonderful guy, a funny guy. He never fit into the Brady Bunch. That was clear, his brand of humor, but he is a nice guy, and we've done a couple of specials with him.
On the Brady Bunch, you had an opportunity to meet some professional ball players. I believe Don Drysdale was in an episode.
Deacon Jones is another. Los Angeles Dodger first baseman Wes Parker is another. And so, yes, we didn't. That was a lot of fun for us.
Joe Namath.
And Joe Namath as well. He kept. He bothered me because he kept flirting with Florence Henderson.
His record is intact.
Yes.
First and second. Intentional walk to Floyd, and Pagan pinch running. 1 ball, no strikes on DeRosa. Well, we joked on the open about the only goat in the house is named Raquel, right?
Yes. Do you know what that goat was named after?
No.
The writer had a crush on Raquel Welch, and was just looking for a way to get her name into the television series, hopefully, and gave it to a goat. I don't know if Raquel ever really appreciated that, but the goat was very friendly.
3-0 the count. Have you ever seen this card? My wife got this card from her sister. It says, "You are pretty far out." Now I'm going to have to hold this up.
The greatest, grooviest, most understanding person in the whole world. Now, who wouldn't believe a guy like that?
There you have it right there.
How much fun is this? I've made it. I'm a Hallmark card. I love that. Well, I actually did have a fight with Danny Partridge in a boxing ring at one point, but
really,
there was celebrity boxing. You missed that debacle.
I had missed it.
Well, it wasn't so good for me. You won't. I'm sorry you missed it, because that's the last time I will ever be in the boxing ring. They forgot to tell me he's a trained boxer and a black belt. But that, details. There wasn't really too much of a rivalry. I would say the Partridges were better singers, but the Bradys were much better dancers.
5-3 Cubs, bases loaded, 1 out in the 7th inning. We're visiting with Barry Williams. So are you Are you a Dodger fan then more than an Angel fan, or do you follow both?
I do follow both, and I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with the Dodgers, to tell you the truth. I've always been grateful to the Angels for having me out on Father's Day. I sang the anthem for them with my then 3-year-old son, and that was a very special moment for a dad.
Absolutely. Well, both teams leading their respective divisions. The Dodgers made a deal. Scott Proctor, a pitcher, coming over. Wilson Betemit going to the Yankees. Gary's still in there, but he has walked him loaded. Cubs retook the lead with 3 big ones in the 6th inning. Swing and a miss. That's strike 3. So what was your favorite episode of all time?
Well, I must tell you that I was a little partial to the Johnny Bravo episode. It was, Greg being everything he wanted to be, teen idol, rock star, fatal mistake, quit that solo career effort, and went back with the Brady Bunch kids and made 4 really bad albums.
Do you still fit the suit? You look great. I'm sure you do.
I have a great tailor. I really do. I can promise you, and I do fit the suit. Occasionally even put it on.
1 strike on Kendall. Jason Kendall has struck out, fly to center, and laid down a sac bunt in the 6th. 2 strikes. Well, your thoughts on being at Wrigley Field in front of over 40,000 tonight?
Magnificent. I mean, the history that is here, the feeling that is here, the excitement that's here. The game with a lot of action.
And Kendall's going to knock home 2. Lee is in, Pagan behind him. Oh, you love the insurance. Jason Kendall has heated up at the plate here the last few days and comes up with a big knock.
Jason Kendall's first few games as a member of the Cubs, he had trouble getting the barrel of the bat on the ball, but here in the 0-2 count, gets a fastball out over the plate. Nice controlled quick swing, drives it over the head of Tadahito Iguchi into right center field. Pagan, who was on to run for Cliff Lloyd, streaks around from second base and scores easily.
Carlos Marmol's going to bat.
That had to feel good for Jason Kendall to get a knock like that in a situation. Full house here at Wrigley Field. Nice going, kid.
Like I'm saying, a beautiful night here at Wrigley.
7 runs for the Cubs. It's Marmol to bat. Lou is not afraid to use his relief pitchers at the plate because he wants to keep them in the 8th inning. He's the 7th hitter of the frame. And those walks coming back to bite Jeff Geary. Big swing and a miss. Who was your favorite player growing up? Do you have a favorite baseball player, Barry?
Well, having the chance to meet Don Drysdale.
That was a huge
he was
thrill.
it was a big thrill, and he was a favorite. But he was a favorite of mine even before he came on the set. So when he actually appeared, he was a tall man, almost 6'6", I think, and he was bigger than life, it seemed, and a nice guy off the mound. I know he was fierce from there.
I know you probably talked to Ron Santo earlier. He probably has different feelings about Don Drysdale because he had to face him a lot during the course of his career.
Is it true he had the 1-for-2 philosophy? Somebody hits one of my players, I'll hit 2 of yours.
I'm sure, yeah. Marmol staying alive, 2 strikes. DeRosa, the runner at third. Kendall just knocked in 2 to make it a 4-run lead. And again, only 1 hit in the inning. That was a 2-run hit. Outside. Carlos hit a home run last year. So we know he has power. High chopper. Foul ball. Well, Well, Barry, thanks so much for dropping by. It really is an honor to have you up here, and
Appreciate
I've seen every Brady Bunch episode many times over, and
thank you.
just it was a wonderful series, and you know, kids still watch it today, and I still enjoy watching.
And a nice inning to be up here.
You brought us some great luck tonight.
Great luck, some nice action, and a beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry.
Take care.
Thank you, Barry.
That's Barry Williams, best known as Greg Brady. Swing and a miss, and that will do it. Cubs add 2 to the 8th, 7-3. Outs to go. And Carlos Marmol, who got ruined to end the 7th, will begin the 8th. Angel Pagan staying in and now playing right field.
Good to see Angel able to participate tonight. I walked in the clubhouse earlier this afternoon. The entire Cubs ball club was out on the field taking batting practice. Angel was sitting in his locker, not looking real good. He's a little bit under the weather, but had some rest earlier this afternoon, got filled up with fluids, and finds himself out in right field to finish up this ball game here last couple innings.
Well, he can sweat it out tonight.
Yep.
Well, Bob, that was the first time I met Barry Williams, and have we had a nicer guest? I mean, what a great guy. I mean, it was Greg Brady.
Came from a good family, yeah.
Raised well by Bob and Carol. Mike and Carol. Not bad.
One of the most successful blended families in history.
Outside. The Phillies fans are not too thrilled right now. Young guy in the middle, he's saying, is it over yet?
Here we go now.
Call strike 3 and a side piece.
Not only a wicked slider, looked like Carlos Marmol dropped his arm angle just a little bit to get more sweep on this breaking ball. Well, that's a common reaction we've seen from a lot of right-handed hitters around the National League when Marmol comes in and throws that drop-down slider. Watch Burrell just lock up those knees. He thinks that pitch is way inside off the plate. It just dive bombs back to the strike zone.
Continues to fire strikes.
know you know this, Len. The guy at the plate here, Chris Coast. What a great story of perseverance for him. Played 12 years in the minor leagues before he got a taste of Major League Baseball. The first 5 of those were in independent ball. 4 years in his hometown of Fargo, North Dakota. Slaved away in the minor leagues. He's been involved in 5 transactions in his career. All 5 of them were minor league free agent signings.
His hobby is writing books, not reading books, but writing. And his is quite a story, as you just mentioned. Called strike 3 again. For the second out.
Very similar to the strike 3 to Pat Burrell. That hard slider. This one stays a little further inside. It just does catch that inside corner. Jason Kendall did a nice job of getting around that pitch so that when he received it, his glove was moving back toward the center of the plate. Ron Kolpa punches him out.
And it brings up Roberson, the right fielder, already 3 for 3. Well, Kerry Wood currently on the mound in Jackson, Tennessee. Tennessee playing at West 10. So it's actually interesting, even though Tennessee, the Cubs affiliate, on the road in the Southern League tonight, playing at West 10, the former Cubs affiliate. And the guy who started the game, Ryan O'Malley, he went 6 1/3, gave up 2 runs. The Smokies leading 5-2 over the Diamond Jacks. So Kerry Wood coming in the 7th inning. Probably will finish that inning and pitch the 8th. Pulled foul to the right. Way inside. 40,495. And an energetic bunch on 70s night. They're feeling groovy tonight. Make it 4 for 4 for Roberson.
Roberson feeling groovy tonight.
Hello, lamppost. What you knowing? You want to do the harmony on that or the melody?
About the flowers growing.
Watch your flowers growing.
Now Roberson has lined some base hits into left field. This time gets out in front of a Carlos Marmol breaking ball, hooks it into right field for his 4th base hit of the game.
Switch hitting Abraham Nunez. That's for Geary. Accepts strike 1. Close play. Those base stealers like to get the biggest lead possible. Looks like Kerry Wood has gotten out of the 7th, 2/3 of an inning, a walk, a strikeout. Pitching in middle relief tonight at Double-A. Might be pitching in middle relief Thursday to finish up this series here. They're up again. For a 1-2, it's outside. strike three. All of the looking variety. All three outs here in the 8th inning. So they leave one. And Carlos Marmol pumped up. It's still 7-3 Cubs. Five runs the last 2 innings. And leading the Phillies 7-3. Veteran Jose Mesa on to work the 8th. Facing Alfonso Soriano inside ball 1. Fouled away, 1-1. Bob Howery getting up for the 9th. Right now, not a safe situation. Cubs up 4 at the very least. Jose Mesa has not yielded an earned run in his last 8 appearances, covering 7 2/3 innings. We don't see Ryan Dempster in the Cubs bullpen. He got into some more trouble last night, but did get out of that 9th inning with no runs allowed, a walk and a single. But he did escape. Second straight outing where he gave up base runners but did not give up a run. So it's Howery getting ready. Mesa signed by the Phillies as a free agent in June. There's Mr. Dempster in the dugout. This will be rolling in right center. 1 out. Let's take a look at our upcoming Cubs and Sox high-definition broadcast schedule, sponsored by Comcast. Thursday, the final game of this series, Kyle Loesch will pitch for the Phillies, and it will be Sean Marshall for the Cubs. Friday, the Mets come to town once again at 1 o'clock on WGN. The Indians come to Chicago August 7th. That's a Tuesday night against the White Sox on WCIU at 7. 2007 Cubs and Sox baseball in HD, sponsored by Comcast.
Shaq.
Right on.
Can you just sneak that in?
You got to remember, this music is that's my era.
Yeah. Nice play by Dobbs. But it kicks away from Howard. Ontario will be given second base. Fan got a hand on it.
Down the third base line. Dobbs with a nice backhanded play. You can see how far he is away from first base. His throw sinks a little bit, and boy, what this play reinforces to me is how good Derek Lee is. How many times have we seen D. Lee pick that particular throw in the dirt, saving his infielder some errors? Not taking anything away from Ryan Howard. He's usually pretty good over there himself, but there are very few like Derek Lee.
A single for Ontario and an error on Dobbs. Third error tonight for the Phillies. So the Riot is in scoring position. So every time Ryan Theriot has played in a game in the month of July, he has reached base. Tonight 3 times, once on an error, once on a walk, this time on a single. Mesa, in his second stint with the Phillies, he was released by Detroit in early June, and as we mentioned, signed up with the Phillies again. That was on June 9th. Off the inside corner. Still has the heat, doesn't he?
Yeah, he still throws very hard. Makes a lot of mistakes in the middle of the zone, more so than he ever did earlier in his career, but still a very serviceable pitcher with a power arm and a nifty blue glove.
41 years old.
Now, see, he could have used red and matched the rest of the uniform, but he chose to coordinate with the stars on the front of the Phillies jersey with the blue. It's a nice look.
Ontario running to third, a liner caught by Rollins, and I think he's going to take that one unassisted. He'll step on second base, and that ends the inning. Here comes the ninth. Bob Howery coming on to try to get the final 3. It's 7-3. The Phillies at 7:05. The first 20,000 fans receive a scratch and win card. 500 random winners will receive a Rawlings official baseball autographed by Aramis Ramirez. Compliments of Kimberly Clark. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. For complete rules, visit Cubs.com. Veteran Bob Howry on. Ryan Dempster now in the bullpen just in case. A 1-0 to Greg Dobbs. Knee-high strike. Good heat at 95.
Easy 95 from Bob Howry.
Little flare and Terrio calling and catching. Just might not be the Phillies' night.
Jeez, that kid looks like he's been at all 10,000 losses.
He was around to see the Quakers back in 1883.
No, but I'm sure there was some 10-year-old that looked just like that when the Quakers dropped a tough one.
1-1 on Iguchi. The Cardinals won. Atlanta beat Houston 12-4. 2-2 now. Milwaukee has tied it. They're in the 8th. Off the glove of DeRosa. Did all he could. Timed the jump. And just couldn't haul it in.
Tries to stretch out as far as he can. DeRosa times it perfectly. Just tips off the webbing of the glove. Barely slows it down. Trickles out there into shallow right center. Well, that's going to cost him too. You know his teammates are going to get on him after the ball game. He got no ups. Couldn't slide a nickel under his shoe. It's a rough crowd in that clubhouse after the ball game.
The Brewers tying it up in the 8th in Milwaukee and continuing to threaten. One out and the bases loaded against Guillermo Mota. So Tom Glavine will get a no decision. So he will have a shot at his 300th win Sunday night here at Wrigley Field. Glavine was good enough to win 6 innings, 1 run, 2 hits. Blocked by Kendall. Jimmy Rollins is leading the major leagues in total bases. 251. He's trying to become the first shortstop to lead the National League in total bases since 1958. Ernie Banks did it for the Cubs. 379 total bases. Jones coming over, lays out off his glove. 2 more bases for Rollins, his first 2 tonight. 253 on the year. Good effort by Jones. He got a glove on it, just couldn't squeeze it. He gets a nice hand from the fans out in right center for the effort. And all of a sudden Ryan Howard comes up. The tying run's still on deck, but we may see some action in the pen. Yep.
Ball squared up pretty good by Jimmy Rollins. Jock got there in pretty good shape. Looked like the ball just hit him down near the heel of the glove as he started his dive. Yeah, hit him at the base of the little finger right there. Didn't go into the pocket and stay in. Nice effort nonetheless. That ball might have been knuckling a little bit. When you see a line drive that carries that far, sometimes it has that lack of rotation and goes out there like a knuckleball.
Ryan Dempster has begun to throw. Howard can go right after Ryan Howard with his team leading by 4. Cubs shifting on the infield, pretty much straight up in the outfield, as they have done throughout this series.
And Howard has obliged the Cubs by hitting a lot of balls back up the middle of the field, where Ryan Theriot is stationed right behind second base. Last time up, he did get a clean base hit into center field right over Ryan's head.
A couple of balls hit hard by the Phillies in this inning, but 2 Cub defenders getting a glove on each swing, and that one nobody touches. 2 outs.
The Cubs have had good luck against Ryan Howard in this series so far, challenging him with fastballs up above the belt, especially on the inner half of the plate. This doesn't seem to be able to catch up with those good fastballs.
Good timing. I have a final line on Kerry Wood. 1 2/3. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. So the numbers were good tonight. Swing and a miss. Strike 1 on Rowan. I don't have the pitch count for Kerry Wood, but he faced 6 batters and retired 5. One strike away. Long look by Howard. And now he steps off. The 0-2 struck him out, and the Cubs win. So Howard gives up 2 hits, but no runs in the ninth to close them out. 7-3 the final. The updated standings: the Cubs are a half game back of the Brewers. The Mets did get out of that 8th inning with no further damage. So Bob, they're in the 9th in Milwaukee. Mets 2, Brewers 2. If the Mets can win, Cubs will be tied for first going into play tomorrow.
Go Mets, go!
Rooting for the Mets and the Cardinals. How about that?